You've already given
We'll
her a
see you
little thank
Sunday,
you, but I
Rupert.
think we can do
Good luck.
better to thank Susanna, Miss Roanoke Valley, for playing for us. She also will be speaking in just a little while. So we're going to learn more about Suzanne Shedd. It's a great day. I'm President Joyce Montgomery with a year of inspired action. With deep sadness, we will be sending a card around today for Dick Clark, who is Judy Clark's husband of 58 years, passed away on Saturday, May the 9th, at the age of 87. A celebration of life will be held at a later date. We had several inspired actions this past week. We had our prayer breakfast Thursday morning with several Kiwanians taking part. James Matthews stepping up to play the piano, and Reverend Preston Tyler emceeing the breakfast. Mayor Reverend Joe Cobb delivering an inspiring message. We also, Thursday, sang the national anthem at the Red Yaks game on Thursday night. And we approved 3 applications at our board meeting on Monday. Woo! What? And also, I want to thank Vice President Reef Kessler for running the board meeting for me while I was at the beach. Yay, Reef. Our introspection today and our Pledge of Allegiance is Gary Dewey.
Isn't this a great day to be a Kiwanian? Hey! I read a little book this week called God's Little Instruction Book. And I like to share just a few quotes from it. Learn from the mistakes of others. You can't live long enough to do them all yourself. Life's not a problem to be solved. It's a gift to be enjoyed. There's a big difference between giving advice and lending a hand. And the last 2 are really good. Be careful with your thoughts. They may become words at any moment. And in Railroad Town, the right train of thought can take you to a better station in life. Join me in the pledge to the flag, greatest nation on earth. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Gary. Now I'd like to call Valerie Brown up to introduce our guest.
Good afternoon. I'm excited about every single table is full. We might have to add more tables next time.
Yeah.
I'd like to introduce our guests and then also their host. So when I call your name, if you'll just stand and everybody remain standing, and then we can have applause at the end. Our first guest is Nick Simones. He is, his host is Eddie Smith. Thank you. We have a couple of people here who are friends and groupies, I hear, of our speaker. So I have taken upon myself as the greeter to be their host. So if these 3 people could stand, there's Miranda Thornton. There she is. Jessica Chernowith and Dree Clements. Next, guests are hosted by Melissa Woodson, is Elise Anderson. She is with Ram House as well.
Yeah, sitting in there.
Also, I want to acknowledge Donna Horak. She is with Miss Roanoke Valley. And I also would like Miss Roanoke Valley to stand as well. Susanna Shedd, thank you. Let's see.
And
who I
by
have
the green
here.
chair.
Reef has a couple of guests. There's Steve Baker and Lamona West, and they are with Williams Deloach Law Firm. And Ken. Thank you. And that's it.
Thank you, Val. Now it's my honor to introduce to you, whoops, turn my pager, Susanna Shett, Miss Roanoke Valley. She's competing for Miss Virginia in June. Susanna is a junior at Lynchburg College, and she is from Virginia Beach. Plays the cello and is studying medicine. Susanna, would you like to say a few words?
Thank you for that introduction. You already stole some of the things I was going to say. So, hello everyone. I'm Susanna. I am now a rising senior at the University of Lynchburg, and I'm involved here with Donna today because I represent the Roanoke Valley as Miss Roanoke Valley 2026. I won my title back in November, and I'll be competing for Miss Virginia this upcoming June. So it's really exciting. We're coming down to the wire here, but I just wanted to share with you all a little bit about what I do. I'm new to this club, so I'm learning a little bit about you all, but you're all very service-based and nonprofit oriented. So part of my work actually is in the community as well. So my platform is all about encouraging, empowering, educating, and employing the next generation of healthcare workers because we're facing a huge shortage right now across our country and other countries alike. So I go to schools, I've been to school boards, I've shared different career opportunities for students. I think I've spoken to over 8 school boards across Virginia, over 25 different schools, trying to get students to pursue a career in medicine. And what we need to do with that is then implement these healthcare workers in places that don't typically have access to care. So I volunteer at the Free Clinic of Central Virginia. I don't know if anyone's familiar with them, but they serve those who are uninsured or are just low income as a whole. And I've served there throughout my time in undergrad. And while I've been there, I've really understood how deep this poverty line goes, and it really breaks my heart for people not having access to healthcare. So I want to raise up the next generation of healthcare workers and then also implement them in places that typically don't have access to care. So there's some phenomenal organizations that give loan forgiveness or grants to physicians that work in these rural communities that typically don't have access. So I encourage those things as well. And also just working in the nonprofit sector. After working in undergrad at the free clinic, I really do see myself working in nonprofit work for the rest of my life, really. But that's enough about my community service. I'm also a student at the University of Lynchburg, biomed major, and I actually just toured VCOM yesterday. So I'm thinking about going VO program after undergrad. And I'm a cellist, which you all saw. I'll be playing cello at Miss Virginia, and I will be playing Bach's cello suite. And I don't know, has anyone heard the Piano Guys before? Really? Okay, if you've seen the cello song, if you've seen it, he has 7 cellos playing at the same time. And I'm crazy and thought I could do the same thing. So I am. So I will be doing that at Miss Virginia. I recorded all of the parts myself. We have a video playing in the background. It's going to be really exciting. Y'all are getting the sneak peek. Nobody else knows this yet. So if you'd like to come out to Miss Virginia, it's right here in Roanoke. The finals night is on June 27th. I'd love to see you there. And I think that's my 3 minutes already. So thank you so much, everybody.
It certainly is a treat to have Miss Virginia with us. And it's also my privilege and my honor as well to announce a Legion of Honor for a member of our club. To be on the Legion of Honor, which if you in your book see, we have a long list. In fact, there are 40 on here. And now, after today, there are 41 on here. I would like Will Dibbling, who is 25 years member of this club, to come forward and get your pin. Will? Thank you, Will. Pleasure. That's all we all have to do. Thank you. What a great day. Now it's even getting greater. We have a nomination committee report to learn who our next officers are going to be. Jean?
Thank you very much, President Joyce. All right. Mike McAvoy would normally have presented this as he chairs our nominating committee, and he was unable to be with us today. So today, for the proposed slate of officers and directors for 2026-2027, we are pleased to present for the membership's consideration the following slate of officers and directors who would begin October 1st, 2026. For officers, David Hartman, President-elect Reef Kessler, past president should be Joyce Montgomery, not Jean Bollendorf. That's a typo. Past president Joyce Montgomery, Vice President Jeff Vick, Secretary Treasurer John Montgomery. We don't want to ever let him leave that position. And new directors for the board of directors, Melissa Woodson, Randy Myers, Jason Poff. And because Jeff Vick is willing to become vice president, that opens up a 2-year term on the board that we would like to fill with Steve McGraw filling the remainder of that term. The slate will be presented to the membership today, and the nominating from the floor will be accepted at the regular Wednesday meeting, May 2026, so that's next week. A vote of the members present, which shall constitute a quorum, will be conducted at the regular Wednesday meeting, June 3rd, 2026, because we're off for the Memorial Day holiday. All right. That's it.
Looks like some excitement for next year. All right. I did hear past president was my name, so that sounds exciting. All right. I love you. It's not that. All right, announcements today. We have a foundation meeting today at Cap Trust after the meeting, which is across the street. Kids Fishing Day is this Saturday, 9 a.m. If you've signed up, you need to be there at 9 a.m. to noon. Spring Fun Day is 2 weeks from Saturday. KPAD wrap-up meeting is May the 21st, 8 a.m. at Tanglewood Y. And the celebration of the wrap-up of KPAD will be on June the 3rd. Prayer breakfast wrap-up will be May the 22nd, 9:30, Zoom. So you can get on and just stay on for a little while there. All right. And this is something we want to share with you. Through the winter, we shared with you that we had been asked from our district governor to help start a club in South Boston. And so we have worked on that. We, meaning Sherry and Dave Hartman, John and I, and Jean Bollendorf have been Zooming and meeting with South Boston. Well, Saturday, while I was at the beach, they had their organization meeting, and John and Jean went down for it, which was fabulous. And to get to be a charter club, you have to have 15 members pay, and then we will let you be a club. And they have that. So they are now organized. We will have a ceremony later to give them their charter. And so, what a great thing that we have done to help promote Kiwanis with a new club. So, kudos to us. All right. I want to ask Fred Jeter to come and introduce our speaker. I always want to say guest, so I stutter there. It's our speaker. What? Oh, sorry. It's still a great day. We're going to do brag bucks. I just skipped right over. I was at the end of the page. So if you have a brag buck, please come forward. Pay $2, brag about anything you want, and the money goes to the foundation.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Sorry, Don.
It's all right. I'm Don Wilson. Yeah, it's a great day, Joyce. I just want to brag on Evergreen Burial Park. It seems every month or so I'm up here with another event that Evergreen Memorial Trust puts on. Here we are, May 23rd. We're going to have a Memorial Day ceremony. We're celebrating America 250 across our great nation this year. So that's kind of the theme. 10 o'clock, meet at the flagpole, Saturday, May 23rd. Hope to see you. One more thing. Barry Durick's going to play taps.
Man in his wedding had a daughter, watched her grow up. Now she's starting out in Nashville. As we speak, she dropped out of UVA for a year. We wonder if she'll ever get back, because I would like everyone to go to Spotify or wherever you get your music, but I know on Spotify. And her name is Sela, Sela Campbell. Remember that name, Sela Campbell. Listen to her song, debut song. I think she's going to be a star someday. Thank you.
I got a lot. No, no, no. I just wanted to thank and brag on Guy Bird, James Matthews. He's not here today. Yes. I'm sorry, James. Jim Graves. He's not here. He's on the board with the YMCA. And myself, we showed up yesterday at Wise Avenue and did trash pickup from the 14th to 17th Street. So any of you that think the environmental club is not active, we still are. So still engaged with us, and we'll try to make more announcements so you can join us. Thanks.
I'm Andre Fun Brooks, chair of the Fun Committee, and I want to brag on Don Wilson. We went to the ball game last Thursday, sang the national anthem, had a wonderful party in Don's suite. He was the host extraordinaire. I want to thank him for a wonderful evening and letting us use his facility, and also being there to bring in yak. Is that right? Yak? And also to bring up the people who took our orders, and we didn't have to go find our food. So thank you so much, Don. We appreciate you.
Steve McGraw, being the gentleman that I am, I let Andre go in front of me just now because my brag is on Don Wilson. Everything she said. Thanks, Don.
All right. I'm back on track. I do want to put in here, John just told me that last week was the last turn in of KPAD, but today somebody turned in, or several people turned in, $108 more. So yay for KPAD. All right. Now I'm going to call Fred Jeter up to introduce our speaker.
Thank you, Joyce. So take two. My name's Fred Jeter. I'd like you to welcome Amy White here today with us. Amy is the Dean of the STEM program in Workforce Solutions at Virginia Western. Amy and I have crossed paths initially in middle school out in Botetourt County,
and then later at JMU, and then most recently on a vertical farm endeavor. Amy is a native of Botetourt County and has worked in the region for the majority of her professional career. Her academic credentials include a BS in biology from JMU, an MS in microbiology and immunology from VCU, and a certificate in field epidemiology from UNC. She's worked at Virginia Western since 2005 and holds many board seats in organizations around the region. She's driven to create opportunities for students and to create meaningful connections across industries and discipline. So please join me in welcoming Amy White. Thank you.
Thank you. This is such an honor to be here. The energy in this room, we really need to capture that and take it out with us. When you awarded your Legion of Honor at the beginning of this meeting, I felt like I should probably leave because what your honoree said sums up, I think, where we should all be. And he walked up here humbly and said, I just had to show up. And those are meaningful words. We all need to show up. I think that is just so impactful. And if we go forward and show up in our communities, we build great things. So that was an honor and a privilege for me to hear that. Thank you for sharing that moment with me. As my longtime friend Fred said, we are both very community based, and we did cross paths initially in middle school and continue to live in Botetourt County and try to support that community. And I try to expand my reach here into the Roanoke Valley. We have some partners in the room from Virginia, with Virginia Western that I want to recognize. Jessica Dre from the Region 5 Adult Education. And if you don't know what that organization is, talk to them after this meeting more than you talk to me. They do incredibly impactful work, and they help learners that may have missed a traditional academic opportunity that we don't recognize. They ensure that those learners are able to benefit from every program that I will talk about today. So they do great work right here in your region. Please get to know them, and thank y'all for coming. Thank you for being here. So as the introduction said, I'm here today to represent Virginia Western Community College. Inevitably, probably once a month in my outings about town, someone says, wow, I didn't know y'all had that, or I didn't know you did that. So that has become my life's work, is to spread the word about what is happening at Virginia Western. So I want to start off. We're educators. I am a lifelong educator. As Fred said, I have some academic work that I've enjoyed and been able to benefit from my entire life. And this is a quote that's kind of guided my work. And not to ask you to read from a slide, I know we're not supposed to do that, but this really drives where I think education should be. The aim in modern education is to train the individual for usefulness. With the present crowded curricula in schools and colleges, it is essential that the material presented for the training of students be selected with the greatest care. It's very relevant, don't you think? We need to think about how we are training, and we are a training center. I hope everyone thinks of Virginia Western when you think of training. Ironically, this is a quote first by a microbiologist, which stole my heart, but it is from 1916. We have been thinking in terms of education and training our workforce appropriately for at least a century or more. And I just think that's very motivational. That moves me to do the work that I do. So speaking of traditional education, this is when I started becoming an educator, and even as I went through my formal experiences, there were kind of this traditional model that education had two pathways. You could go into academics, which was the traditional route. So most people went from high school to college and then on to the workforce. And that's represented on the right side of the screen. At some of the trade schools and community colleges, there was a second door called workforce. It's kind of a nebulous door. No one really knew what it meant, but it's where you went if you wanted to get maybe an industry certification or a short
credential, something you could do in 6 weeks, maybe, or 8 weeks, something you could do that might improve your employment or your chances of employment. And colloquially, it became these terms became credit on the academic side and non-credit on the workforce side. And they were very distinct options. And even at Virginia Western, when I started there, many 20 plus years ago now, it's hard to say. But when I started there, workforce was a division and academics was a division. Well, there's some problems with that model. First of all, there is no clear path to success. A student walks in, where do I go? No one knows. Not everybody speaks academic language like we do. So there's a lot of confusion for a student to know where to start. There is a diminishment in workforce training simply by the term non-credit. And there's a lot of rhetoric now, a lot of conversation. Let's change that language. Non-credit implies that it is not as worthy, that it doesn't mean as much. That is so incorrect. And I've learned that over my career, and I'm here to spread that word everywhere I go. So in addition, what we found at our college operationally is there's so much redundancy. We had 2 marketing arms. We had 2 finance arms. We had 2 enrollment arms. Why would we do that work in duplicate? And what this results in is a lot of missed opportunities for our community, for our learners. So circa 2023, what we did at Virginia Western is we merged our workforce division and our academic division with what we are calling our one-door policy, our one-door approach to education, meaning any student at any level with any credential and with any goal can enter through one door and they will be served equally and appropriately. We try to meet the students where they are and take them where they want to be. And we have found that this merger, and it was hard. I'll be really honest with you. Any of you in operations, you know, when you try to have a major organizational change, that comes with a lot of hand wringing and a lot of angst. People were no longer, we physically moved people as well as in the org chart. So we picked up offices and moved them. We merged our marketing departments. We merged our enrollment specialist. And it was very hard. And we're 3 years out and there are still challenges. We're still refining this. But all in all, it has had a wonderful outcome in that we are much more united now at the college. And I find that everybody can speak more fluently to all the programs that we offer. No longer do the biologists just know about biology 101 and 102. They also know, well, look, if you're interested in lab work, you can maybe go to phlebotomy over here on the workforce side, or here's a CCMA program to get you into healthcare. So it has been a beautiful, beautiful solution to a problem I think that many didn't even know existed. And that's what's interesting about this journey. We are now housed under the Division of Academics and Workforce Solutions. All of our enrollment flows through one building, Chapman Hall. There are clearer pathways. We have avoided a lot of redundancy. And the collaboration has just been, if I had to pick one thing, it would be the collaboration that we have seen as a result of this. Our enrollment has increased. I guess I could come up here and tout some numbers and some revenue for you, but for me, that's not the main reason we're doing this. We want to impact students and their families. So the collaboration among our internally has been the greatest win, in my opinion, for this. And it has allowed us to really expand our programming. We have been able to offer new programs that we were not offering before simply because of increased efficiency and increased knowledge of what we're doing. Kind of the tagline that we've developed is that we envision, if this was a vision statement, we want to provide a spectrum of opportunity for learners, meaning that anywhere you are in your educational journey, we can help you get to another place on that educational journey. It's not always linear, but it is beautiful. So what we have here, again, with the spectrum of opportunity in the workforce training, when we're talking about industry credentials and we're talking about quick turnaround, very, very content focused material, there's a number of funding sources that we can use. The Commonwealth of Virginia has a program called G3. You may have heard of that. They've done a lot of media around that. You've also may have heard of Fast Forward. Those are Commonwealth of Virginia funds. Those are your tax dollars that the Commonwealth and our General Assembly has allocated for training so that individuals can be more successful in the workplace. And for most of our students, they can undergo those training and receive those credentials for no input financially on their part. There's a lot of academic input, a lot of roll up your sleeves and get the work done input, but they don't have to pay for it. And that removes a tremendous barrier when people are economically stressed and looking to improve their finances. We also have short academic credentials called career studies certificates. Those are about a year long. Many of them will transfer into applied associate degrees. An applied associate degree, applied means you are going to put that knowledge to work immediately. You're going to pretty probably enter the workforce directly. And we have some really interesting applied degrees. We also have associate degrees that are really intended for transfer. And if you go to our website, which if this inspires you at all, I hope you will go to our website and look at all the different transfer agreements we have. We have very good relationships with all of our four-year partners in our state. We also embed in many of our programs industry credentials. And that was a term I was not familiar with. Again, my history is kind of traditional academics. I was that high school, 4-year grad school person. Industry credentials are recognized by various industries. They are content specific. So we offer credentials in biotechnology. We offer credentials in welding. We offer credentials in machining. And the industries really recognize those. And it says to a potential employer, this student has this skill set. So they're very valuable. They haven't always been included in academic programs. We now have them embedded in many of our programs. So it's an add-on for the student. They sometimes cost. How does a student pay for those? We have some grants to pay for some. Some industries will pay for others. There's, again, a whole lot of funding sources you can rely on to award these credentials, which really does boost a student or a learner's potential for the job place. This is a picture that we like to put in lots of our slideshows. This is the lobby to our newest building on campus. It's the STEM building. That's kind of its name. It doesn't have anything named fancy, but we have so much equipment and so much opportunity. If you ever want to come and tour, that's where we'll start. I would love to host any and all of you to show you some of the facilities that we have. Jessica and her team have a lot of experience in our buildings, and we're able to partner with them to provide locations for learners to gain information. There's a lot of programming that we do. I know I'm on a time crunch here, and I've asked people on both sides of me to poke me because I can talk for a very long time, but I do want to give you all time for some questions at the end. But we have so many programs. If you have questions about any in particular, I would love to chat. Some of our more high visibility programs include probably our marquee program is mechatronics. We also have really improved our biotechnology presence, and we're a leader in the state of Virginia in that realm. I'll talk a little bit more about that. Obviously, we're very involved in IT and cybersecurity, computer science, AI. You can't have a conversation these days without AI. I will relieve you now. That's the last time I'll mention that. So it will not be a talk about AI because that's what all we hear. But we've also been creative. And as Fred said, we kind of met, reconnected professionally over some agriculture experiences. In particular, we have a grant that is supporting training technicians for controlled environmental agriculture, growing systems that are vertical, that is economically feasible in some situations, and it saves with space. It's really a nice way to use some spaces. So that work is funded through a grant. I'll talk about that a little bit more in a moment. And then I have the big et cetera at the end, because again, we have uh, I think we're up to 12 healthcare programs now. I'm not going to go into all those today. That would be a whole nother discussion. But as our speaker, thank you for mentioning shortage in healthcare workers. We are all, and we live, let's face it, we live in the Roanoke Valley. That is a healthcare centric region. And we see shortages, and I think immediately of doctors and nurses. But one of the highest needs we have is imaging. Who's going to take your x-rays, who's going to do the CT scans, who's going to do the ultrasounds, those sorts of things. There is a shortage across the board, also in laboratory personnel to do the urinalysis, the blood work that we all rely on when we go to our doctors, either for routine health or because we're not feeling well. First thing they'll do is draw blood. Somebody has to do that work and analyze that and provide results. So there is a shortage across the board for healthcare. And again, we're working very hard to expand our presence in that realm and meet the needs of this community. As I said, mechatronics kind of one of our marquee programs. Mechatronics is some people will equate it to advanced manufacturing. I like to broaden it out a little bit bigger than that, but really it's a way of taking some very concrete disciplines, electrical engineering, mechanical engineering, and IT. There's a lot of programming involved, and we combine those disciplines to offer and provide mechanical solutions to anybody trying to make anything. Manufacturing. Again, we're rich in this region in manufacturing. It probably comes in a distant second to healthcare, but we have some really robust manufacturing in this region. When we look at the Commonwealth of Virginia as a whole, we do well with manufacturing, and we're about to do really, really well in the area of pharmaceutical manufacturing. And I'll talk about that in a moment because those two fields are going to blend really nicely, I think, going forward. Our mechatronics program was started with funding from the National Science Foundation. There is a arm of the National Science Foundation called the ATE, that stands for Advanced Technician Education. Let's train technicians to do the work that our industries require. And we have been very blessed with multiple NSF award. That was our first one, and we really were able to start our mechatronics program with that funding. That offers embedded credentials, industry credentials that I mentioned before. The particular agency that we work really closely with is NC3, and we're about to announce an advancement in our NC3 capabilities. Be on the lookout this summer. We're going to become an NC3 leadership school. That will be in the media in July. I think we have that keyed up, and that just means, again, we're going to support with high level workforce training our manufacturing industries in our region. The again, funding for this, there's some state money that is available, G3 in particular, both the workforce mechatronics fundamentals as well as the academic mechatronics is all G3 eligible, which means that the Commonwealth of Virginia will pay the tuition for all of that training. We try really hard to put soft skills into every class that we deliver. And soft skills, lots of different names, professional skills, workforce ready skills. It means that we work with the students not only on the technical expertise, but also on how do you show up? You don't come into the workplace 15 minutes late wearing a wrinkled, dirty t shirt from last night and, go to sleep at your desk. We try to teach professionalism. We hold them accountable. That's part of the grade in some of our coursework that you are timely, that you are punctual, and that you do communicate in a professional manner. Our communication skills, I don't think anyone would argue, have maybe declined over the last 20, 30 years. I have some of the faculty members that don't return emails unless they're in a certain format because we're trying to train the students. You must communicate professionally. So I hope if you see any of our students in your workplaces or your organizations, that is reflected. We're trying. It's a little harder. It's a lot easier said than done, but we are trying to embed that. We view the soft skills really as the hard skills. Here's a map, and I don't expect you to be able to read all of that. That came from one of our brochures, but it really drives home that idea of a spectrum of opportunity. We have on the far left some workforce training programs, mechatronics fundamentals, that can lead into a career studies certificate, which can lead into an AIS degree. That can then go into the workforce, or you can transfer to some four-year colleges with those degrees. The cool thing about what we've done with One Door is we can go in the opposite direction. Suppose we have someone in the workforce that needs a credential or they want to hone one particular skill. We can go backwards as well. So again, it's a spectrum. Anywhere the learner is, we will meet them there and try to get them to the next progression in their academic pathway. Mechatronics, again, is a term a lot of people aren't familiar with. And we find that as an enrollment challenge. When we developed the program, we thought we were being really sophisticated. We'll put out a really cool sounding term. Nobody knows what it is. So enrollment was challenging for a while. I throw this up here just to look at all the people that hire students with mechatronics, either career studies certificates or our associate degrees. And these are some of your premier industries in this region. And I'm happy to say, have great relationships with all of these and more. In fact, we have curriculum advisory committees where we invite members from our industry partners to come in, meet with our faculty and administration at least twice an academic year to kind of guide us on what we should be covering in our coursework, what we should be doing in our curricula. So we don't develop our curricula and our programming in a vacuum. That is a recipe for disaster. We need to be accessible to our workforce partners, and we try very hard to intentionally do that. There's a picture of one of the classrooms. That's actually a classroom. I hope that looks very different than the classroom many of us grew up in with the fixed desk that were hard to get in and hard to get out of. This is actually an active classroom. We have so much lab equipment. We have been so supported from at the state level and with our administration. So again, all of our education is hands-on. We want our students up. We want them doing something. We want them working in groups, trying really hard to develop those skills that are going to make them successful. We have a fab lab that is incredibly popular with our students. They're able to go in there and use 3D printers. They can use CNC machines. They can use a water jet or a laser jet cutter. We have really state-of-the-art lathes. We have some really old school hand lathes so that students can understand the progression of that technology. This is a space that students can go in and work creatively. They also can build projects for their academic classes. For instance, we always have a robotics competition in the fall. They will have to 3D print parts for those robots that they designed. So they learn to design, and they learn to produce, and then they learn, most importantly, to refine, because none of their projects work right out of the gate, right? That would be no fun at all. So it's great to see as the semester gets toward its culmination, I see them out in the hall redoing projects and scratching their heads in frustration. I'm like, this is good for you. It's wonderful. They don't believe me, but then they come back in a few years and say, yeah, you were right. We have blessed again with a robotics lab. We have an entire second floor room that is dedicated to robots. We have what we can call collaborative robots. They are cobots, and they're robots that actually interact with humans. Like we can train them to do things. You can walk up to them. We also have an autonomous vehicle. We, as I'll show you in a minute, we developed a curriculum for autonomous vehicle technician training. And we were just fortunate enough to take that into industry, and we did some wiring harness certification training with Wabtec last semester, and we finished it this semester. That went extremely well. And again, we're going to support that industry with our technology. Machining is another branch of what we do that is really valued in this region. We have some companies that rely heavily on well-trained machinists. So we have a partnership with Roanoke City Public Schools where we have one of the labs at Rotec. So, Roanoke City schools have two arms for technical education, one at Fleming and one at PH, Rotec and Daytech. One of the labs at Rotec, which is at Patrick Henry, is our machining equipment. And that's the picture you see on the right. So what we do there is train the high school students by day and then offer workforce training for adult learners at night when their schedules allow. So we're kind of running both of that type programming, and we have several levels of machining, and we do that again in close association with our industry partners so that we're teaching the techniques that they're going to need their workers to have. As I said, we've delved now into autonomous vehicles. This is one of our newer programs. We have great relationships with Torque and Virginia Tech, and we've put together a career study certificate, and we actually have an autonomous vehicle on site. It's not as great as it sounds. You're expecting a car that's delivering pizzas on campus. It's really just a little square, but the students program it to go out in the hallways and do missions. And it's really, really impressive. And they get really excited by that. We're teaching one of those autonomous vehicle classes this summer. And it's really exciting to see what the students want to do. And many of these types of classes, we're able to let our students design their own projects. We give them some parameters. There's some guidelines and guardrails for them, but by and large, they can design their own projects. And this is an area where they really get excited. Biotech, I can't give a talk right now without mentioning biotechnology. As I said earlier, we have become a leader in the state of Virginia for biotechnology education. We're really involved in building the life science ecosystem. We mentioned earlier today that we are a train city. We all know that we're not as much a train city now as we used to be. So there's a colloquial term that people are using now, or phrase, from train city to brain city. And building the life science ecosystem is part of that. We have the Fralin Biomedical Research Institute right down there at Carilion. What we're doing is participating in efforts that have brought statewide dollars to this region to improve bioscience and biotechnology training. We have state-of-the-art laboratories and cell culture labs that, again, if you're interested in seeing that type of thing, I'm happy to host a tour. We have a new associate degree that was not in existence 2 years ago, and we have signed articulation agreements with James Madison University. Go Dukes, that was our first one. Also with Roanoke College, and we have a really interesting partnership with Roanoke College where they're native Roanoke College students actually take the biotechnology classes at Virginia Western, and it counts as Roanoke College credit. There's no transfer involved. They are just on our campus taking those classes. And what that means for our community is that now Roanoke College doesn't have to invest in a biotechnology lab. They can spend their dollars somewhere else. We can share our resources with them. So we really have a collaborative, community-based program. And we're getting ready to sign an articulation also with Radford University. Yes. Oh, I thought somebody had a question. So we have, as part of the biotech program, some really sophisticated equipment. If you really want to nerd out with me, we can come and look at our scanning electron microscope, our confocal microscope, and in the far side of the room that can't see, we have a DNA sequencer. So we're really doing state-of-the-art work right here as your neighbor. Just last week, I hope you saw this headline. Did anyone see this headline? Please. Yes, thank you very much. So, Rova Labs is a new building. It's not a new building, it's a renovated building. It's on Jefferson Street. 5 years ago, I think this project's been going on. Four of us went to Richmond. I went as a representative of Virginia Western, Mark Nelson from the city of Roanoke, Aaron Burcham from the Technology Council, and Brett Malone from the Corporate Research Center at Virginia Tech. And we went to Richmond and visited the General Assembly, as I said in my remarks last week, as naive lobbyists, because that is an understatement. But we went and we asked for $15.7 million to come back to Roanoke so that we could renovate the old IBM building on Jefferson Street. And the General Assembly heard us. There was a budget amendment that was sponsored and supported by our local legislation, which we should be very thankful of. That was a bipartisan effort. And we brought that money back to Roanoke and we coupled it with money from the city and money from Carilion Clinic. And we renovated this space and we cut the ribbon on that last week. And it is going to be a shared laboratory space and innovation space to foster startup companies that can come out perhaps of Fralin or come from somewhere else with an idea that they're not quite sure they can take to market yet. And they can use this shared space. There will be entrepreneurial support there to foster that kind of economic growth and development in our region. I can't also have a conversation without talking about agriculture because that's my number one love in this world, probably other than my family. But we do have another grant that I mentioned. We're doing a lot of work in the controlled environmental agriculture space. We also just 3 weeks ago took a group of students on an Abbott bus down to Lexington to visit a robotic dairy. And again, a perfect blend of life science and engineering and technology. It is amazing to watch these cows. I think this farm, Ingleside, has like 300 head of dairy cows. They walk into the barn, they eat their dinner, and they get milked at the same time. And that milk is put into the tank after it's tested, and human hands never touch it. The dairy farmer owner was sitting there at her computer, and I love a couple things about that sentence, namely hers, because it's a female that runs that farm, and she was telling us, oh, that cow produced 150 pounds of milk yesterday, and you know everything about those cows. That is all technology. So very proud of that work. Last thing I want to say, are we getting close? Okay. We also do immense amount of customized training. I've talked to you today about kind of programmed work that we do at the college. We can come to you. We can go out to any industry and we can customize programming, whether it be leadership or whether it be mechatronics fundamentals. And we can offer that to people. Our corporate training lead is Regina Cook. She has a wonderful blog called Western Works. It's on our website if you want to take a look at that. So I thank you again. It is my honor to be here. It's my honor to represent the college, and I'm happy to follow up on any other questions or conversations. Yes, sir. Yeah. So Virginia Western Farm Community College. These initiatives that you're talking about done here, are these something that be done there, or is this primarily here? That depends on your region. Okay. So the agriculture grant that I just mentioned, we're the only ones doing that type of work. Biotechnology, there are other biotechnology programs in the state, free, but we are by far the leader in that space. Mechatronics is pretty widespread depending on the type of industry. And that's what's interesting about the VCCS is, as you said correctly, we're part of the system. There's 23 colleges. You go over to Tidewater Community College, they're all welding and naval welding, underwater welding. Okay, that's going to be one of their big programs. We don't need to offer that here, right? There's no market for that. So the colleges really try to rely on their communities and what they see the needs are in that community. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And thank you for that. And thank you for your work on the board. I have to say, and if you've been on the board a minute, you know Dr. Sandel. Probably most people in this room know Bobby Sandel. We couldn't do any of this without administrative support, and our administration repeatedly supports our crazy ideas. As I said in one of my comments when Dr. Sandel was retiring, he leads with yes. I never once went to that man, and I worked with him for 20 years, that he said, no, Amy, we can't even think about that. Any idea I brought forward, he's like, let's think about how we can do that. And that is such it's formed my leadership style. And I'm happy to say that our new president, Dr. Trainer, is exactly the same. I can sit down with her with any idea and we think about how that might happen. And I think she's going to leave with the same support that he did. So thank you for that work. Yes, sir. Where do you say that blue door, right? So, and I'm going to say something that's going to be wrong for a year, but our enrollment center is typically Chapman Hall. That's kind of the hub of the campus. And that's where I would say to send them. We're going to be doing some major renovations on campus. So our advisors are going to be spread out for a year. But there is a new student advising team that you can go to. Anybody can walk in and say, I don't know what I want to do. And they will sit with you. They'll start to share options. We also have an incredibly vibrant hall career services center. So we have a career center led by Dr. David Porter. It's on campus and they can work with students on, what might your interests be? What are your skill set? What is your skill set right now? And how can we parlay that into what you might want to do? So come and start asking questions. I'm happy to, I talk to students all the time. A lot of it is word of mouth. Like we'll have people in our community and be like, hey, could we come up and talk to you about X? Absolutely. So walk into the enrollment center and say, I think I want to come to college, but I'm not sure where I want to start. You'll go to the career center and you'll meet with a new student advisor. Thank you for that. Thank you. One more. Oh, we got to go. Yeah. I'll talk to you. I'll catch you. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Don't sit. Okay. Amy has asked for her honorarium to go to Virginia Western Community College Educational Foundation. And with that, here it is.
Thank you. Thank you. Great. Oh, thank you. That was fun. Thank you.
As you know, probably all of us drive through that campus a lot. And I don't think we'll ever drive through it again without having some memory of this speech. So thank you, Amy. You've made that little drive come alive. So thank you. Also, I want to thank again Miss Roanoke Valley, Susanna Shedd, for coming and sharing her gifts with us. And best wishes in June. Next week, we have high school scholarship program led by Steve English. So as I thought about it, this is our biggest thing is serving this community and giving those scholarships to the needy kids. I don't think we want to miss that. So what came to my mind was what Will Dibling said. Just show up. That's all you have to do. And with that, we are adjourned.